Ever wondered what truly sets unforgettable hospitality apart from just another stay? This is the Global Hospitality Collective podcast, where we go beyond the surface to uncover the stories of short-term rental and vacation rental leaders who are reshaping our industry. Every other week, authors behind the Hospitable Host book series unpack the real strategies, lessons, and heart-led decisions driving meaningful change in hospitality. So if you're ready to challenge the status quo and elevate the way you host, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Global Hospitality Collective podcast. Here I am with three other professional hosts from around the world, and we love to chat about short-term rentals and what's going on in our business. So I'm Jodie.
I'm Rose.
I'm Debbie.
And Helen.
And we're here to just have a chat, and hopefully you'll pick up some great tips from us. And like we do when we listen to each other, we pick up great tips for our own businesses. So today's episode is all about just that one thing that changed our hosting. I know through the hosting journey, we have many things that we change and because we learn along the way, but I really wanted to focus this time on that, just that one thing, because every experienced host can point to that one moment, or perhaps it was a habit or a decision that completely changed the way that they welcome guests. So this episode is going to explore those turning points, and we're going to hopefully find out some better ways of how you can run your business. And, you know, sometimes just one small shift changes everything. So let's start with Rose. Rose,
Yeah.
Tell us about you and what's one memorable thing that you did?
Yeah. So I was thinking about this topic, and it actually brought me back to a very specific moment where I had a thought. I've had many thoughts, don't worry. But it was one particular thought. When we first started, I did not have a background in hospitality. I mean, just because you go on vacation doesn't mean that you know about hospitality and vacations, right? When I was trying to learn a lot about it, I was reading a lot of books, I was listening to podcasts, but I also was sort of sucked into this Facebook group vacuum where it's a bunch of hosts, and a lot of it is just a lot of complaining about guests, and you won't believe this, and sort of you sort of get addicted to those horror stories, because if you know about all of them, then you can prevent them from happening, right? But the tone of a lot of those were just really confrontational with the people that we were hosting. And I think you can get really overwhelmed by that, because that's always the first thing that people ask, oh, do you have really terrible guests? No, I don't. And there was a moment where I just realized that I do not have to buy into that narrative that our guests are disgusting, vile people who are just trying to rip us off. Are those people out there? Yes, they are out there. They are, but they're not the vast majority of the people that we're hosting. And I also realized that on the other side of it, there are groups like this for people that travel where they complain about us and how terrifying all these crazy short-term rental hosts are and just the outrageous things that hosts do. So for me, that moment was, you know what? I don't have to be afraid of my guests. I don't have to fear them. And on the flip side, they don't have to fear me, that I'm going to do right by them. There's certainly that hope is that they will do right by me. But there was just this switch that I'm not afraid of them. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to take care of them. Is everything going to be perfect every time? No. But even if it's not, I'm going to do right by them. And I'm not being held hostage. I am in charge. It's my house. I am not afraid of you. That was a big moment for me.
Those Facebook groups. I mean, again, I did learn some things. I mean, but like those really large, I mean, it is the
with thousands of
negativity
posts. Yeah.
is insane. And again, it's kind of our little outlet too, right? You know, people are like, especially when you don't have any other outlet, you feel like you're on this island. It is nice to have some type of plug-in, but again, once you start plugging, you start to kind of feel like, all right, I kind of need to go more over here than over here. But yeah,
Yeah.
totally with you on
I
that one.
actually discovered those groups after I'd been hosting for about a year. And because I was just doing my thing the best that I could. And then I did get onto Facebook and I found an Airbnb complaining community. I was just thought I was the luckiest host ever because I'd never had any of those bad experiences. But then it started, I really did, I like you, Debbie, I did learn a lot from them because I was thinking, oh, I don't do that, and oh, I don't do that. And maybe I had just, been lucky, touch wood, that I haven't had all those bad experiences. And especially, I think different countries have, majority of guests are the same, but there are those people, like we hear terrible horror stories about people in the US who bring bed bugs to your properties and then they take a photo. And I remember listening on Clubhouse about that and I couldn't believe what goes on. So yeah, those Facebook groups are scary. And I know for me, once I found a community that was a supportive community, not a complaining community, that changed everything for me. You could write something on there without the fear of being put down or, something negative being said about you because all you're doing is asking a question. And that was a big turning point for me. Yeah. Yeah.
To jump piggyback on that too, Rose and Jody, I reaching out to people in your area, however that looks, if you go to a meeting and you kind of connect with someone. We went out to dinner with, they've become really good friends of ours and builders, and they have places also in Hocking Hills. And she was saying, she's like, she texted us later that night. She's like, it's so, because they kind of do their own thing. They haven't been in a lot of groups. And she's like, it's so nice to talk to people that know the short-term rental world. Because not, it's like you tell people and they're like, oh, cool. But when you're living it, totally different. So, moral of the story, get connected. With us, of course, because I mean, we're the coolest, but
So Helen, what about you?
So I was thinking back to when I started, and I don't know if you guys had the same kind of thought when you first started. I did everything, like I was on the multiple OTAs. So I was on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, like on all those. And I thought that I couldn't have a PMS system because I wasn't big enough in the beginning. So when I first started, I had, I think, two, and now we have six. But at first I thought, oh, I only have two, so I don't need that. But what I would do, and I don't know if you guys did this too, because I was on multiple platforms and I didn't have a PMS, when somebody booked on, let's say, Verbo, do you guys say Verbo or VRBO?
I say Verbo.
I say
Both.
VRBO.
Both? I say both too. So if a house booked on there, I would then go into my Airbnb, block it, go into my Booking.com and block it. And eventually I was like, you know what? If I could just get a software that would help me so it would all be connected, that would help out tremendously. And then I would also like message, nothing was automated. So every day I would go on and message the guests of what they needed and stuff like that. So when I ended up going with Hostfully was the platform that I ended up picking, and that changed things drastically. And also it allowed me to have a direct booking website because everything I had originally was just on the OTAs. So having a technology software, and I've tried other technology, like we've talked about this before, where we had all this different technology, and then you find like, okay, this isn't really helping, or this is costing me more than what it's worth. But having a property management software, that was really helpful. So having one app that communicated across all the channels, that automated things, that was a big turnaround for me. And so if you are a host, even with one or two properties, and you think, oh, that would be helpful, it is helpful. And so that's my Thank you, Hostfully, for helping me out with that.
Oh
They
my
should
gosh.
sponsor. They should sponsor this.
And this
This
episode
one.
is not sponsored by host. Frank, where are you? Maybe you'll
That's,
go home. Yes.
that's crazy. I know. Oh my gosh, Helen, you just brought back memories of
Mhm.
texting every guest. I would text every guest before and like, we can't wait to have, and and it was funny because when I went to automation, also, I will say it was fantastic, but I was a little, maybe it's the control in me, like, I'm not going to text them every day. Like it was a little weird at first. I mean, it's been fantastic having automation now, but because I felt like I had that really good connection, but I still do. But now we just use it in a really cool, different way, and it's a lot easier. But I was a little nervous about not texting my guest every single day.
Me too. And I was worried that it wasn't going to feel personable, like that it was going to feel like too automated. But, and the thing too is, and having been a guest, I don't like just give me the information, just let me be. Like I don't need all the, you know what I mean? Like we have to read and do stuff all the time. So as a guest, like I like just give me the basics. I don't want like these enormous long paragraphs and things like that. And so I try to do the same because we're all busy and so are our guests. So I try to keep it like brief and hostfully allows me to do that.
You might have just convicted me. I'm going to write myself a note to make it more simple. Sometimes I just get excited and I want to tell them everything. So I think I
Yeah.
probably now need to go through my messaging now that you're saying this and probably, because I did it a little while ago. So I probably need to go touch base and look at that again.
I'm a bullet person. Like I prefer to get information and just
Yeah.
bulleted. Like so when someone sends me a paragraph, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna read this later. And when things are bulleted and I can skim them quickly, then I am more successful with that. But I noticed too, like with our weddings, we actually we were just talking about this with my coordinator Amber. We send our couples all this information like packets. And there are key things that happen at weddings almost every single time. Same thing with our guests, right? We ask them to do the same things and these are the questions that get repeated. So we're actually making what we call a one pager where these are the things that we get asked on regular and we're making them like super short, like bathrooms here, smoking areas here, like making it very like simple. And so then it made me go back and look again at my hosting templates and see like what is it that my hosts my guests keep doing and me as the host, how can I like make that information a little bit clearer and a little bit easier so that I'm not getting the messages like what is the Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. So I think sometimes I give too much information, so we've been shortening that up across the boards and everything.
They say that in
I'm
your
taking notes. People
Oh,
just,
good. You're always taking notes. We learn from each other. But they say that in our about our listings as well. Like bullet points are the better rather than lots of copy, lots of text. I don't know what the sweet spot is there because then there's other people who say like tell the story, bring in the narrative, get the feeling in there. So what do you do there? I know we've kind of gone now to listings, but it's about making those changes. Storytelling seems to be the big thing these days to bring people in. They have an experience through language first. And is that something that you've all adopted or just
I think it
doing
depends on the
your
person reading. So,
Mhm.
I attended a conference last year, and in the conference, it talked about different leadership styles
Mhm.
and your staff and how communication changes. Like I said, I'm a bulleted person. I don't need fluff. Give me the key words. I have a member of my staff that if I send her information that way, it hurts her feelings a little bit. So she needs a like, hey, how's your cat doing? And hope you had a great weekend. And I'm like, so
Simplicity.
she, so, and if you look at us, we are all very different. Like the way I would communicate with you, Jodie, and Debbie are different. I do need to with Debbie. She's got a little more heart. I'm not saying Jodie, you don't, but Jodie and you and I, we communicate the same. Like, just give me like exactly what you need, and we're good. So my staff is the same way. They're all very different. Some need fluff, some don't need fluff. Some need the back end story and the why and what's going to happen next. And some are like, what do you want me to do right now? And I think our guests are the same way. Some guests want the whole story. They want to know the whole background of the property. And others are like, I need the Wi-Fi code, the door code, and like, where do I get your cookies, Rose? Right? Like, they just want like the basics.
Yes.
So I think the way to do that, and I did talk to like my marketing team about it, is I tell my story with the pictures and I leave my text and bulleted. So that way, even people who need the fluff, they love the pictures, right? Like, they love that. And so everybody loves a visual story. So I do it with the pictures as opposed to the text.
So I have developed two different magic phrases that I give to my guests at different points in time to help identify, there's those people who, like you, Helen, you want the information you need. You're not looking for a new best friend. But then there are the other people who they want to talk to you all the time. They want all the information, all of that kind of stuff. And so I've developed two different phrases. In the beginning, when somebody books, I do send them a personalized video. And what I say is, if you have any questions or you need anything, you have my number and feel free to reach out. And so then those people that they're good, they don't need any more, they're fine. But then the people who do want to talk all the time and message, I have left the door open for them. And so those people self-identify. I mean, let's be honest. Those people self-identify, right? So then I use another magic phrase when our guests check in. So when they check in, I ask them to message that they've arrived. And then I say, have a wonderful vacation, and I'm here if you need anything. So people like Helen would be like, I don't need anything. I'm good. But then other people, they'll be sending me pictures. They'll be asking questions. Where did you do this? Oh, I love this. And so I use these phrases to just leave the door open. If people need me and they want to message me, go ahead. If they don't, then they don't have to. I'm here if you need anything. So feel free to steal those two magic phrases. And then those folks who want extra attention, they always self-identify.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's such a great tip, Rose, because, just that small change can have such a massive impact on how we then are with our guests and the level of service that we have to give. So we're gonna name it a Debbie service or a Helen service.
That's right. Magic phrases. Now, Jodie, have you shared something that you did that changed your host?
Oh my gosh, so many changes. And, I thought of one which has been in the last couple of years, which made a massive impact. But then you've all been talking about when you first started. And I think my biggest one was education. I jumped in because I had a property. I set it up because, I'm a traveler and I thought I knew what people wanted. I stuck the property up on Airbnb thinking, woohoo, let's go. And it was very successful, I have to say. Then the competition started, around COVID times, things blew up. And I had to get serious about hosting. The bookings were coming in still through Airbnb, but then I started watching things on YouTube and listening to podcasts and so on, and people were talking about direct bookings, and I was like, what? How do I do that? Like, how do I get this out there? And so I then, with the help of my PMS, I got a website, and that was really great. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned that turned my direct booking website around was at a conference, and I was speaking to one of our fellow authors of the Hospitable Host book series, Liam Carolan, over in the UK. and he was telling me how he captures emails from the guests that are coming in. Now, this is before the PMSs, had everything on automation and the AI. And he said, you send them a jot form, you create jot form. Now, all of you know I use jot form a lot, and it was because of Liam, and he showed me this thing called jot form. And so he helped me create a jot form where it was my new check-in form, which asked for their email address. And all of a sudden I had a database of hundreds of guests. So then I was able to do direct email marketing, and voila, the direct booking started flowing through. So I think for me, that was the biggest thing. I know that was a bit of a long-winded answer, but just taking emails, getting in contact with the guests, and we're not supposed to take them off platform, are we? But we all want to.
I was just going to ask you that. So, through Airbnb, particularly, like you can't like directly, market to them and take them off the platform. So, do you send the job form link through Airbnb?
Yeah, it was through Airbnb, but then they got cluey, right? And then they started to stop that. So then with your PMS now, but with your PMS, don't you? I have a link to the Guesty welcome app, which takes their details, and they have to sign in.
I don't even know now. I'm gonna go back and look at Hostfully, because I do a lot of my email marketing for events and weddings, and not so much short-term rentals. But
I use Hostfully, Helen, and I have a pre-arrival form that fills out all their info. Like I ask them, their address, because we send thank yous after, so I ask for address and stuff, and that just helps me kind of verify, who's coming in, who's going to, and for insurance purposes too, of all the guests that are going to be on the property. So Hostfully does have that, so check into that. And then StayFi. I am a huge StayFi.
Are you really? Yeah, loads of people use StayFi.
We use it, and I mean, we also have really big places, so it brings in everybody's emails to us. And some we get the kids, and those don't work. But for the majority, our email list has been grown tremendously with StayFi.
So Debbie, can I pick your brain on this as well?
Yeah.
So you gather all the emails. How are you doing your email marketing? Because I don't know if it's a U.S. thing or a New York State thing, but I cannot email a large group without having a button to unsubscribe. So how are you doing your emailing? Are you using, like a service?
I use StayFi. So all the emails go into StayFi, and there's a million probably ways to do this, but what's been easiest for me is all the emails go through StayFi. I can do newsletters through them. So I just create newsletters. I only send them out once a month of kind of what's going on in the area. And I have a button that says unsubscribe, and sometimes people do. But for the most part, I mean, it's been great. We'll do last minute, if there's a cancellation, I'll go into StayFi and do a quick, email to everybody of like, hey, we have a opening this weekend, and I've gotten bookings that way. So it's been pretty easy.
Yeah.
How often do you send out your newsletters? Do you have like do you have it automated? Like, are you doing it like once a month, once a week?
Still working on that. So I do it once a month. Well, I started quarterly because that's all I could do by myself. Then I started doing once a month because I felt like, okay, I can handle this. And then I ended up getting a VA, which she is amazing. So she's doing it, and that's only been 2 months. So that, again, so it's a growing, evolving process. But that's been huge.
Yeah. I send one out
we do
once a week.
email marketing as well. But I do work with an agency. So I work with an agency for like running ads, and they host our website. But we also do email marketing twice a month. And I have somebody specific that I work with for that. So we use StayFi, and then all of our contacts are then connected into MailChimp. So we use MailChimp for that, and it allows us to like segment our list, and we can do a lot of different things within MailChimp. And there is a unsubscribe at all of our emails, and I meet with our copy person, and we actually make a schedule for all the topics that we're going to do for the year. And we do a quick phone conversation where we talk about it, and then she types up the email and I proof it, it goes out. And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll feature a blog post that's relevant to this time and get people to click off the email onto our website, because once they hit our website, then we can retarget them for more ads. I like to soft launch ideas and then tell people, hit reply to this email and tell me what you think of this idea, because we're still formulating what it's going to look like. So I really like to soft launch ideas. We do things like guest features, this family stayed with us. This was their 8th stay. Thank you so much, because they're going to read that email. They love it. So we have a whole variety of things, and having an agency and having a person with a schedule for the year, she just initiates that phone call. We talk for 10, 15 minutes. She writes it. I read it. It goes out. And if it wasn't for that system, I do not have the time to do it. I don't. And so that has helped us be super consistent. We get a lot of bookings off of those. But just having that system in place and having a plan allows us to execute it.
Which I think is kind of what we are talking about too, is like, okay, because I'm listening, I'm like, gosh, sometimes this can sound like where do I start? And I think, like you said, Jodie, like if you're not collecting emails, the first step is like, all right, what am I doing? Am I just on Airbnb? If I'm on a PMS, how can I do this? Is it, maybe a form they fill out if you don't have the automation, maybe it's as easy as maybe they fill out a little form when they're, I don't know.
Just in the property.
Something, so I think sometimes we got to kind of dumb it down a little bit, because again, we've all been doing this for a while, but it makes me think of like, man, we've come a long way,
Yeah. And even if you don't know what to do with the emails, start collecting them. Like, I think it was about 2 years in from hosting, I started collecting emails, and I'm like, oh, wow, if there was one thing that I could go back and do, it would be collect emails. Now, I know a lot of you use StayFi, and a lot of the listeners, they might use StayFi as well, but there is another company that's out there, and it's called Email Collect. And the pricing is a lot more affordable. And, you can do simple things by, even if you have one property and you don't want to buy into any of these subscriptions, like Rose, we know she doesn't like subscriptions for things.
I do not.
You can create a simple QR code where people have to scan, put their details in to get the Wi-Fi details, and then you will be collecting emails. And that's, I think, with the beauty of something like StayFi or Email Collect, is they're collecting everybody's email that stays in the property, because they want the Wi-Fi details, where, say for me, I collect them from the person who's made the booking. So who gave me a thumbs up? Did I do that? Yeah, so I'm looking at Email Collect at the moment, and it's a very, very affordable option. And you can do all sorts of things with it as well. So
I'll definitely check that out, because we were calculating our numbers. So we do like every month, like a profit and loss and like sales report to see kind of how things are doing. And so we calculated our numbers of people that came through the property. Last month, it was 787 people were either like attending an event or were staying on site. And so if we're having, this month, we actually have more. We're predicting to hit over 1,000 people. So if we collected all of those emails, we don't do anything with the Wi-Fi. Like, we just give it to them. Like, they just have the code and get on. So I'm going to have to switch that over, because that's such a loss. We predict that between May and October, we're getting anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 people that are coming through for that season. So the thought that we're not collecting those emails, it's not even just them, it's every vendor. It's every every one of those people, every time a caterer comes on, they bring like their staff, and they all want the Wi-Fi password. So
I know what's adding to your to-do list today.
you know what? So for those of you who are listening to us and can't see, go check us out on YouTube. But like, I just took out a post-it note and I just wrote down. I just wrote collect the emails for the guests that are attending events. Like, I do it for the guests staying in the short-term rentals, but I need to do that. And then featuring. I love, Rose, your tip about featuring a guest on the newsletter, because then they share it. And so I'm thinking I could feature a wedding couple, and I could also feature a short-term rental couple, because when people see their names 3 to 7 times, they are more likely to develop a relationship with you. So like, anytime we're talking to like a couple that is thinking about booking here, we say like, hi Rose, it was so nice to see you at your tour. Hey Rose, how's it going? So we like continue to use their name multiple times to build that relationship. But you featuring the couple, the guest, is a way, it's another like touch point. So I'm going to collect the emails, and then we have blogs, but I haven't updated them in a while. We tend to like batch them over our off time, and then we release them. So I should go back and look at our blogs again, and then connect that to it. So I wrote this whole thing, and we've been doing this together for years. For years, the 4 of us have been talking about tips and ideas, and every time that I have a chance to connect with you, I'm getting more ideas. And it just shows that like one of the most important things with short-term rentals is having your own network and not being on your island by yourself, and having people that you can communicate with, because when you surround yourself with A players, then you will continue to become an A player. So thank you, ladies, for that. I appreciate it.
And as a reminder, if you think that it's just a bunch of busy work to collect emails and to send out emails, your email list is a company asset, because none of us want to do this forever, right? We're all going to be, on the beach in Bali, right? So when the time comes that you exit the business, there is a monetary value associated with the size of your email list. So you're not, this isn't just like a busy work, like a money for now. This is also an investment in your exit payout. So that's something to think about too.
I'm kind of mad at myself right now. So we've been doing weddings now for how many years? So let's hypothetically say 10,000.
No, don't even think about it.
I'm thinking about it. So let's say it was 10,000 every year. I know that's not, but let's just give it the rough number. So that means I would lose 10,000 this year. I would have lost 10,000 last year. So I would have potentially, since we've started doing weddings, I would have lost 40,000 emails. You guys, I'm so mad at myself for not
work another year now.
Yep. Helen, so I'm gonna do that. It's a point that I'm realizing that I need to make it a priority. So it is gonna get moved up on my Asana list of urgency. So I will do that.
But you are fully booked for weddings, so
I am.
We don't do any more anyway.
Yeah, I am doing good things, but right now I have a cabin that is struggling to book. It's one of my newer cabins, so maybe this would have been a way that I could have got that going. So I'm going to definitely make this a top priority.
Fantastic.
I love it. I love it. All right, I think it's my turn, right? I think I'm the last one.
Yeah.
I loved this question when we were going to talk about this today, because it kind of brought me back of like, wow, what is the one thing? There's so many things, and it's all evolved. I look at the very beginning and when we first started to now, and I keep saying, oh, this one thing. But if you back it up to the very beginning, I would say one of the things that was like an aha moment is hiring or encouraging our cleaning team, because we hire out a cleaning team. It's a business because we are remote. So the business comes in and I have really good communication with them. But I used to think the cleaners like did it all. Like they ran my business basically. I was an hour away. They were the ones that were there. So again, I was trying to figure out what I was doing, and I was expecting way, way, way too much from our cleaners. It just wasn't fair. And I feel like I want to go back I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but I'm sorry if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. But we, through the company that we were working with, we got, they're called different things. We call them inspectors to go out right before the guest stay. So the cleaners go in, do their thing. I am still responsible. I am the owner. I am the responsible one. So I still, I cannot put it on them. They've got a big job, and God love the cleaners. I love them so much. But having an inspector go in to get eyes on the details, we were missing the details. They were going in, they were cleaning, but the details were slacking. So having someone to go out, take a peek, make sure the soap's full, make sure nothing's under the, just all the little things that, when the cleaners go in there, they've got their hands full. So I think that was an eye-opening thing for me is, it's my business. It's a business. And it took me a while to figure that out too, because remember, we got all into this for passive income. But yes.
You're a funny lady.
I'm still waiting for that passive part.
Not passive. It's not. But yes, no, it's yours. You are responsible for your business. It is a business. Even if you have one. I know people are like, but I only have. It's not an only have. You got one. Do it really well. And, get other eyes in there to get all the details squared away. So, yeah.
Love that. Now, we normally end our episodes with a word of the day. I've got one for sure. So and remember, the word of the day is either personal or a business. So my word of the day is duh.
Duh.
Duh. Like, why did I not collect the emails of the guests that were attending as events? So my word is duh.
Well, one of the things that I always go for is to be unflappable. And so in the middle of summer with the crush of getting guests in and out, but also, I want to have like summer and have fun and do stuff with my kids. I'm going to remind myself to continue to attempt to be unflappable.
Okay. What does unflappable mean?
Unbothered. Nothing bothers me.
Okay. I like that. Unflappable. I'm going to use that 3 times today. Unflappable. Okay. My word, I usually like to do more than one, but I'm actually going to do one word today. Connect. Connect. Wherever that is, whether it's in your local community with the Global Hospitality Collective or whatever. Connect yourself with people that can lift you up, or maybe personally too. It doesn't even have to be business. Connect. We want connection.
Like it.
Yeah, I love it too. I'm going to go with intentional, right? So I'm going to try and be intentional. Look at my processes after this conversation. There's loads of things that even we discussed, and I could go in and change things immediately, from my communication to my email marketing and all the things, great things that we've discussed. But I think if I just pick one a week and work on that, and like you said, Debbie, like be really good at that one thing, like go through all my communications and really fine tune those. And it's great with AI now. We can use AI, and there's lots of great tools that can support us to do that. But today's conversation proves that great hosting isn't built from hundreds of changes. We just be intentional and make little by little. And again, education is the best way to do that. So that's my word for today.
I mean, you should see my notes right now. I mean, like, just taking a look at all the great tidbits that we had today. It was like email marketing, clear, simple communication, using pictures, having a network. But like you said, Jodie, it's like, don't get overwhelmed. Just pick one at a time. And so my first one I'm going to do is just collect the emails. That way I have it. And then when I'm ready to do the other stuff, I'll be ready to go. So love it.
Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, that wraps up this episode. And for those who are listening, if this episode made you think differently about your own hosting, we'd love you to continue the conversation inside the Global Hospitality Collective. Just check out our website, theglobalhospitalitycollective.com. And we've got a great community of professionals there that we all lean on and support on each other. We're not gurus. We're just doing the raw deal of hosting. So until next time, ladies, have a great day and happy hosting, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this episode of the Global Hospitality Collective podcast. If today's conversation made you think, inspired you, or just reminded you why hospitality matters, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Next week, our panel, Helen, Rose, Debbie, and myself are back, and we're going beyond the listings and the tech, diving headfirst into real stories, the hard decisions, and yes, all those weird and wacky guest experiences you won't believe are true. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep hosting with heart. See you next time.